Is astrology a guide to aid us in mastering the universe? This is the Cosmic Community Podcast with Galactic Ambassador Stacey Dredd. This astrology report is for the week of September 2nd. There have been some planetary changes, and we are fast approaching the Pisces Lunar Eclipse this week with a very active Mercury and Mars, and also the planet Uranus stationing retrograde this week. So lots to talk about. And, one of the big things to know is that if you felt that projectile feeling as though you're being flung into the portal, that's what's happening. We are in the wormhole of the eclipses. And we, like I said, have that lunar eclipse this week. And then in a couple more weeks after that, we got the solar eclipse. So this time when we have the interplay with the north node and the south node, this is where you get the sun, the earth, the moon lined up with shadows being cast all around and us caught right in the middle of it. So it's the feeling of being in a portal, being in a wormhole, and it has the flingy feeling because this is known as a time that could be quite the slingshot in life in general. The north node and the south node have this thing where they like to bring things into our lives and also take things out. So this couple of weeks, this time when we're traveling through the eclipse portal, a really important time to be paying attention to the things that naturally, organically want to be coming in, and then also be paying attention to the things that are naturally and organically wanting to leave our lives, because this is very important. This is a cosmic course correction coming in from the universe. So during this eclipse time, it is a time to trust in the larger cycles, to trust in these grander phases, and to, just relax into it, let everything fall into place. This is a wild card season. So you just don't know what you're going to get. A great time just to use the pencil and the eraser, put the ink away, because it's not a time to get too reliant on the exact plans that you make following through. It is a time where we could see things surprisingly come to life. And this is also because that planet Uranus stationing retrograde this week, it's a very potent time when a planet is sitting still in the sky, and Uranus is the planet of surprise. It's the planet of the wild card. It's the planet of awakening and revolution, revelation. We'll chat a little bit more about that when we get to that day in the week. But starting on September 2nd, we have the Capricorn moon. So Capricorn moons are great for getting down to business, getting serious about something, taking responsibility. Capricorn is a great grounded earth energy, a cardinal sign that wants to start things, get things initiated. See, Capricorn is the sign that starts the season, the winter season. So you get that initiation of the new season with the initiator signs, the cardinal signs. Capricorn is the cardinal earth sign. And so very much going to be starting the groundwork, taking the steps necessary to create structure. And this is an ambitious energy. So when the moon is moving through a sign, that is what we want to be doing. Those are the vibes we're going for. That's the mood mood that we are feeling. So getting down to business, brass tacks, Capricorn is a great time to see things realistically and be more rational. So Mercury, very much active this week. See, we had Mercury in an extremely long retrograde a couple of months ago and just spent tons of time in the sign of Leo, but finally, Mercury has left Leo. We are done with that business for now, this time around. Anyways, Mercury has moved into Virgo at the time of this report. It's at 1 degree, just approaching 1 degree of Virgo. And that puts Mercury in the realm of all of the outer planets that are hovering right around the 1 degree point in their minor grand trine. Uranus, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto are all hovering around the 1 degree point of the signs that they're in: Gemini, Aries, Pisces, and Aquarius. I mentioned Pisces because Saturn is just now moved back into Pisces. And so Saturn's at 29 degrees. I mean, it's basically at the 0 degree point of Aries, but we are including the Saturn in Pisces, a very final degree in this. So what does that mean? That means that this fresh Mercury out of Leo finally getting to move forward with new thoughts, new communications, new ideas, ways of thinking. And that is because of the movement from one sign to the next. When a planet moves signs, it gets to be shifting into the new themes. So we leave behind Venus. Venus is still in Leo, doing her work there. Venus in Leo, very much still scraping through the Leo themes and reigniting the flame there. But Mercury, our mind, gets to move forward. Our heart's still in Leo with Venus, but the mind now in Virgo. And we have another Earth energy, just like the moon in Capricorn today. We also have the sun in Virgo and now Mercury in Virgo. So we get a little more heady here. Mercury actually rules the sign of Virgo. So very much an exalted sign. Mercury, very potent, powerful, at home here, ready to do the Virgo stuff. Virgo also is housing the South Node right now. I mentioned the South Node because this is where the sun is going to be approaching the sun and the moon opposite each other in the charts when it is a full moon, as we are going to be getting at this lunar eclipse in Pisces this weekend. So the sun in Virgo is lighting up Virgo themes. So we get an extra burst of Earth energy and Virgo energy when Mercury moves here. Virgo's all about planning, organizing, making things new and whole again. It's a cleanup, detox, purge type of energy. Virgo is that planner, and that's where that Mercury comes in. So we get the mind involved when Virgo energy is really, really in play, which it is this week and is through this eclipse season, because we do get the new moon in Virgo for the solar eclipse 2 weeks after this new moon. So Virgo themes coming in strong on September 2nd, and a couple of inconjuncts from Mercury to Saturn and Neptune this day also. So an air of making some adjustments on September 2nd also. On September 3rd, we get more Mercury interplay. So we're going to see this Virgo mind start to take over, where things just are a little easier to communicate. Things are going to come down from that Leo drama, that big fiery energy in Leo where we're expressing ourselves and being super passionate. We're going to be leaving some of that behind because Virgo is a little more detailed. and just a little more fine-tuned about the communication. So we get a fine-tuned communication out of Mercury, and on the 3rd comes into a square with Uranus. Uranus that is basically sitting still in the sky. A square is a challenging aspect, so we could see some challenges in sort of adjusting to this new Virgo Mercury. When Uranus is in a square, it can bring about some surprising aspects, and sitting here very still, extra potent. So a little bit of a wild card communication that comes in on Wednesday, and also another inconjunct to Pluto from this same Mercury. So at this 1 degree point, this is Mercury making the interplay with this minor grand trine of these outer planets. These outer planets are going through a lot right now. They have recently moved into new signs, which is rare for outer planets. It only happens every several years because they move so slowly. These 4 planets, though, have done this all at the same time. So it's a lot of new energy right now that we are integrating and engaging with. And also, these planets are all going to be retrograding or are currently retrograding, actually. Uranus, the last one to join the retrograde pack over there. So that means that they are going to be going back into old territory, back into these signs that they've already left, where we kind of thought all this stuff was taken care of and done. And now all of a sudden these old themes are coming up. Well, just know that before next year, all of this energy will be put to bed. So it's a very, very good time to engage with anything that's coming up from the past, anything that we need to go back to and take care of in terms of the larger themes and the larger phases and these different eras that we go through in life and in relationships and throughout the course of certain things that take long-term time in our life to see come to fruition, that we're going back. We're going to make some edits and tweaks and to not be afraid to do that, because this is the time to do that. This is our last chance summer dance here in these old signs, and by the spring of 2026, we're going to be moving forward out of here. So Mercury coming through to this 1 degree point, very powerfully linking up with this minor grand trine and these grander themes and eras that are trying to come through and be completed. Then also on September 3rd, Jupiter is in a trine with the North Node and the South Node, these lunar nodes that we're discussing that create these eclipse points. Jupiter is an expansive energy. So throughout this week and throughout this time when we have the interplay within the eclipses, we also have Jupiter sitting here expanding everything, bringing in really positive wisdom and things that Jupiter brings also that is like good luck and just benevolence and positive energy. But also Jupiter can make things very big and exaggerate a bit. So careful of that overexpansive, overindulgent aspect that Jupiter can bring in this week, because it's a very, very fateful week. This is a time to be paying attention to the things that are wanting to come in and the things that are wanting to go out. And because Jupiter's here, it could actually not be hard to miss. These are going to be big moments. And then Thursday, the 4th of September, the moon moves into Aquarius. We get a more independent, free spirit out of an Aquarius moon. Capricorn, more earthy. Aquarius, an air sign. So we become a little more social, a little more outward, a little more willing to be seen and to be heard. And also with the moon in Aquarius, we become become more of ourself than we ever are, because Aquarius celebrates the things about us that make us super unique. And this same day, we've got some of this Mars energy coming in. Mars is our physical body, and Mars can create action. So Thursday the 4th is like a day of maybe some action that is being taken. We have an in conjunct with the North Node coming in again. These fateful energies, something physically coming in to our lives this day, since Mars is such an active physical energy and the North Node is bringing these things in. Something could physically show up this day, and also in a square with that Jupiter, expanding it, making it big, something that cannot be ignored on the 4th of September. And then on the 5th, this is when Uranus is stationing retrograde, so sitting the very, very stillest, although we do feel this potent wild card energy all week. There could be just, since Uranus is in Gemini, and Gemini is another sign that is ruled by Mercury, so Gemini is a more heady energy. So we could be realizing things, thinking things. This is where we get ideas, spontaneous ideas, revelations, more things being communicated that create realization and awakening and electricity. Uranus is electric and sparky. So make sure that you're taking care of your nervous system this week. We can feel much more anxious and nervous when Uranus is stationing. And then on September 6th, this is a moment in the morning on Saturday to catch our breath, because it's been an active week so far. And Saturday's the only day this week, really, that we get a moment, we get a break, we get a breath right before the moon moves into Pisces. Because once the moon moves into Pisces later in the day on Saturday, we are diving in deep to the full moon eclipse vibes. And then on the 7th is when we get this Pisces lunar eclipse at 11:08 a.m. Pacific West Coast time. And this lunar eclipse is happening at 15 degrees, 22 minutes of Pisces. And then the sun sitting at Virgo, opposite 15 degrees, 22 minutes Virgo. Very, very tight into the North Node and the South Node, both of these luminaries, the sun and the moon, only 3 degrees from the nodes. This makes it extremely potent, very, very fateful. The things that are taking place this week in terms of this eclipse are meant to come in. They're fateful. They are going to have a permanent effect on the future. So we pay very, very close attention, and Pisces is all about surrender. So we become completely surrendered to this eclipse portal, to being flung through the wormhole. And what we get is a very strong connection to source and an intuition and an intuitive knowing that cannot be ignored, cannot be denied. Jupiter bringing in the wisdom that we need to see the things that we need to see and release the things that we need to release. And this lunar eclipse is where we could have some true awakening. We could have some true moments of basically communication from a higher source. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. It compiles all the rest of the spiritual energy of the rest of the chart. It's the most tapped into source of all of the signs. So here we are in this very, very intuitive time with some eclipses taking place that are going to put us into our correct path. It's going to cause some cosmic course correction. And then the moon moves into Aries on September 8th. And this is a great time to have a new beginning. The Aries sign is all about new beginnings. It's also a cardinal energy like Capricorn. So we get 2 cardinal moons this week, which is all about starting new things, initiating, being bold, being brave, being a leader, and not being afraid to step up and step out into your own benevolence. So thank you so much for listening to the Cosmic Community Astrology with I, the Galactic Ambassador, Stacey Dredd. And I do wish you the very, very best over this lunar eclipse. And we'll be chatting again through somewhere out there through the wormhole. And we'll talk to you again soon. Take good care. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Cosmic Community Podcast. More can be found at kpov.org/thecosmiccommunity.